The World in Danger, a Story of 2025. Chapter 1, A World Full of Sparks. The world is in danger. 3 fronts are burning. Are we getting close to World War III? In this story, we reveal what's really happening, not with big words, but with clear truth. Simple English, but a powerful message. Get ready to discover what could happen if everything explodes. The year is 2025, and the world feels different. People open their phones not for news, but for warnings. Governments talk less and threaten more. In the Middle East, something burns. Missiles fly between Israel and Iran, each one louder than the last. But this is just one spark. Thousands of kilometers away, in Eastern Europe, Russia pushes its borders. Ukraine is still fighting. But now, whispers say, Russia wants more. To the south, in the Red Sea, Yemen's Houthis launch drones. Their targets? Ships. Not just any ships, oil, food, goods. The world begins to ask, what is happening? And more importantly, what comes next? In Washington, silence grows. Inside secret rooms, leaders meet. The President of the United States listens. Generals speak. Advisors warn. Iran will not stop. Russia is testing us. The Houthis are just the beginning. One general asks, are we looking at 3 wars? Nobody answers. Because the truth is too big. Let's go back for a moment to how it all started. Iran and Israel, their hate is old, deep, and dangerous. In April, a large attack hit Tel Aviv. Israel responded with force. But Iran did not step back. They stepped forward. Stronger. Louder. Russia had lost many men in Ukraine. But they gained something else, a new alliance, with China, with Iran, and a quiet friendship with the Houthis. One voice. 3 fronts. One idea, we don't want America leading the world. In Yemen, the Houthis smile. For years they fought alone. Now they feel powerful. They send messages to Iran. They get weapons from Russia. And they target American ships, with pride. In Europe, fear grows. Germany calls for peace. France asks for talks. But Poland and the Baltic states prepare for war. NATO holds emergency meetings. Troops move. Planes fly low over borders. And in people's minds, an old word returns, World War. Back in the US, a young student asks his father, Dad, will there be war again, like before? The father looks down. His answer is a quiet whisper. I hope not. But hope may not be enough. Too many lines are crossed. Too many guns are ready. Too many leaders want to show strength. This is the world in 2025. A world of sparks, waiting for one big fire. Chapter 2, The First Front, Israel and Iran. It began with a siren, then a flash in the sky. People ran. Children cried. Tel Aviv was under attack. Iran said, we are defending ourselves. Israel said, this is war. For years, the 2 countries shouted at each other. Threats. Warnings. Secret attacks. But in 2025, it all became open. The first missile came from Iran. It hit a military base near Haifa. Then Israel answered. Boom. 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 The skies were no longer blue. They were full of smoke and fire. In Tehran, people watched the news. Some felt proud. Others felt scared. One woman whispered, "My son, he is a soldier." In Jerusalem, families sat in shelters. They hugged each other and prayed. A child asked, "Why are they trying to kill us?" No one had an answer. Both countries sent more missiles, more planes, more soldiers. The world watched, but no one stopped it. The United Nations met. China said, both sides must stop. Russia said, Israel started it. The US said, we stand with Israel. Suddenly, it wasn't just Israel and Iran anymore. The war had a voice. And that voice was loud. Israel used high-tech weapons. Iran used drones and long-range missiles. Cyber attacks hit hospitals. Electricity failed in cities. Innocent people suffered. No one knew what tomorrow would bring. A doctor in Gaza said, "We treat everyone, Israeli or Iranian. It does not matter. They are all humans." In the middle of fire and fear, something strange happened. Saudi Arabia called for peace. Egypt opened its doors to refugees. Jordan asked for calm. But it was too late. The war had opened the gate. And behind it were more players, more anger, more history. The first front was only the beginning. When war begins, can anyone really control how far it will go? Chapter 3, The Second Front, Russia Moves West. It was cold, but the silence was colder. In the early hours of March 2025, tanks moved. Helicopters flew low. Soldiers crossed a border, again. Ukraine, the name that shook the world in 2022, was now back in the headlines. But this time, it wasn't just Ukraine. Russia said, NATO is a threat. We must protect our lands. But many saw it differently. Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, small countries near Russia, were watching. They were afraid. And then it happened, Kaliningrad. Russian troops began a drill. But it wasn't just a drill. One NATO radar saw movement. Then another. Then another. Was this it? Was Article 5, the rule that says an attack on one is an attack on all, about to be tested? Germany held its breath. Poland sent tanks to the border. France called for talks. But in Moscow, President Putin gave a speech. The West wants to surround us. They send weapons to Ukraine. They move closer every year. We will not be silent anymore. In Washington, the US president met military leaders. The world remembered 1941. It remembered how wars grow, from silence to fire. Russia launched a cyber attack. Banks in Finland went dark. A hospital in Slovakia lost power. Social media in Europe slowed. It wasn't a full invasion. But it was a sign. A NATO general said, "Russia is testing us. If we blink, they move. If we stand, they stop." But what if both sides stand strong? Russia wanted land. NATO wanted peace, but also safety. Neither wanted to fall back. In St. Petersburg, a mother cried. "They say my son is training. But I know what training means now." The streets of Warsaw filled with protests. Some shouted, "No war." Others answered, "Defend Europe." The US sent 10,000 troops to Germany. The UK sent jets to Poland. Sweden, now in NATO, called an emergency. Europe was no longer calm. And just like that, the second front opened. Middle East. Now Europe. A world map looked red. Two flames burning at the same time. Who would throw water? Who would throw oil? Meanwhile, Moscow spoke with Beijing, and NATO spoke with Tokyo. New lines were forming. Old fears returned. The war was growing. But still, many people hoped it would stop. One old man in Berlin said, "I saw World War II. I saw the walls fall. I don't want to see fire again. If two fires burn at once, will the world have enough water to stop them both?" Chapter 4: The Red Sea Fire, the Third Front Ignites. The sea is often quiet. Waves rise. Winds speak. But now, the Red Sea roared. It began with a missile. Then another, launched from Yemen, flying fast over the water. The world looked south, towards a land filled with mountains, deserts, and anger. The Houthis, a group with power in northern Yemen, said they were defending Gaza, sending a message to Israel and the West. But their missiles didn't stop. Ships were hit. Oil tankers. Cargo ships. One ship caught fire. Another disappeared beneath the waves. The Red Sea, a path for trade, now became a battlefield. Saudi Arabia moved its defenses. Egypt watched with worry. The UAE closed one port for safety. America answered. Missiles were fired from US ships. Targets in Yemen were hit. The Houthis replied. "Yo, we answer. We are not alone." Behind the scenes, eyes turned toward Iran. Was it helping? Was it supplying weapons? No one said yes. No one said no. Israel, still at war in the north, sent a message. "We will not accept attacks from the south." Chapter 5: Falling Alliances, Who Stands with Whom? Our patience is not endless. The Red Sea, once red with sunsets, now glowed from fire. In Sudan, refugees ran. In Djibouti, people stayed home. In Eritrea, soldiers stood ready. One fisherman from Yemen cried, "This is our sea now. It belongs to war." Shipping lanes were blocked. Food and medicine delayed. Prices rose, not just in the region, but across the world. Europe felt it. Africa suffered. Asia watched its trade slow. This war wasn't only about soldiers. It was about ships, fuel, food. And yet, peace felt far. In Oman, leaders called for calm. In Qatar, voices whispered. Too many fires, too close together. But the missiles didn't stop. By April 2025, the US had 3 carriers in the Red Sea. Israel warned of a new front. Iran said nothing, but watched closely. And the people watched. They waited. They feared. A father in Jeddah said, "I hear the planes every night now. My daughter hides under the table. I tell her it's just thunder. But I know it's not." The Red Sea, once a line connecting continents, was now a line of fire. 3 wars. 3 places. 1 world. Middle East. Europe. And now the sea between them. Each war touching the other. Each fire feeding the next. When a sea catches fire, where can ships go? And where can peace sail? In war, lines are drawn. Flags rise. But alliances, they shake. They fall. The world watches three fires. Iran. Russia. The Red Sea. Now, the world begins to choose. Turkey stands in the middle. It is part of NATO, but speaks with Iran. It sells drones to Ukraine, but calls Russia a partner. President Erdogan says, "We want peace. We will speak to both sides." But others ask, can you speak to both and still be trusted? In Europe, voices are not united. France sends weapons to Israel. Germany sends food to Gaza. Spain protests in the streets. Italy says, "We need gas, and gas comes from war zones." The European Union holds a meeting. Long hours. Many arguments. One diplomat says, "We are tired of choosing sides, but silence is not neutral." In the United Nations, words are many, but actions are few. Votes are blocked. Resolutions delayed. Russia says, "Israel must stop." America replies, "Iran must stop." China smiles in silence. Alliances are tested. The Arab League meets in Cairo. Some support Iran. Others fear chaos. In Africa, countries are divided. Some back Palestine. Others stay silent. One African leader says, "We fought for freedom. But we need food now, more than flags." And then, a surprise. India, quiet for months, sends a message. "We support stability. We will protect our trade. We will act if needed." People asked, will India fight too? No one knows. Alliances are no longer clear. One day a country sends help. The next, it closes its borders. People are confused. A journalist in Beirut says, "Today I filmed aid for Gaza. Tomorrow, I film bombs from Gaza. Who is helping who?" Even NATO feels the heat. America wants strong action. Hungary says no. Turkey delays. A voice in Brussels says, "If NATO cannot move as one, is it still strong?" All enemies shake hands. All friends look away. And the people, they suffer. They flee. They search for truth. But truth wears many faces. A young woman in Turkey says, "My phone shows 10 wars. My heart can't carry them all." The world is no longer black and white. It is gray and full of fire. When every nation speaks for peace but prepares for war, who do we believe? Chapter 8: Silent Fronts, Cyber Attacks and the Invisible War. Not all battles use bombs. Some attacks are quiet, invisible. Hospitals stop working. Banks freeze. Airports shut down. And no one hears a sound. Cyber war has begun. In New York, a train system crashes. In Paris, people can't pay for food. In Tel Aviv, alarms go off. But there's no rocket, only code. A single line of code can destroy a city. And behind it, unknown hands. Are they Iranian? Russian? Private hackers? No one knows for sure. But the damage is real. Israel says, "We are under attack." Iran replies, "We are the ones being attacked." The truth? Both are right. Cyber weapons go both ways. Israel blocks power in Tehran. Iran floods Israeli phones with fake news. Confusion spreads like fire. People don't know what to believe. What is real? What is fake? Is the enemy outside? Or inside their phones? In Washington, panic grows. The Pentagon's systems slow down. Emails vanish. Satellites blink. One general says, "This is not war with bullets, but it feels like we've been hit." Then China is hit, too. Banks crash. Electricity flickers. The government says nothing. But everyone knows someone crossed the line. Cyber experts call it the new battlefield. There are no soldiers, no tanks. Only silence and chaos. In Moscow, hackers celebrate. But the Kremlin stays quiet. Why? Because silence is their weapon. Back in the Middle East, people lose trust. They don't believe the news. They don't believe each other. And when trust is lost, peace becomes impossible. A woman in Beirut says, "They don't need to bomb us. They just need to confuse us." Meanwhile, schools close. Not from danger, but from system failure. Students stay home. Lessons disappear. The war has reached not only governments, but homes. Some hackers fight for politics. Some for money. And some, just for power. A single teenager in a basement can do more damage than 10 tanks. World leaders hold meetings. They talk of cyber rules. But who will follow them? Who will punish the invisible? The United Nations tries. But every country blames the other. And while they argue, more attacks come. The internet becomes a weapon. And everyone, even you, is on the battlefield. This is not science fiction. This is today. If truth becomes a target, who will protect it? Chapter 9, A World on Edge, Peace, Power, or the End. The world is holding its breath. Cities are quiet. Markets are frozen. Families pray. And leaders prepare. The war has touched every corner. Iran, Israel, Russia, America, China, Europe. No one is safe. No one is ready. In the Middle East, the bombs have stopped, for now. But the air is heavy. Something darker may come. People look to the sky, wondering if peace is real, or just a pause. In Washington, the president speaks. "We do not want war, but we will not stay silent." In Tehran, a cleric replies, "We are ready to die, but we will not be controlled." Two nations. Two visions. One red line. And it's getting thinner. But there's something new. Voices rising. Not from governments, but from people. In Tel Aviv, a Jewish father says, "I lost my brother in this war. I don't want my son to die too." In Qom, an Iranian mother whispers, "They told us we fight for God. But I only want peace." These are not enemies. They are the same. Afraid. Tired. Human. But will the leaders listen? In Moscow, Russia watches, ready to gain more power. In Ankara, Turkey tries to talk, but no one hears. In Berlin, London, Delhi, all eyes are on the Middle East. Even Saudi Arabia now speaks. We need peace, or we all lose. But peace is not easy. Too many lies. Too many deaths. Too much anger. And then, a signal. A private message leaks. A secret meeting between US and Iranian officers. Could it be a chance? A reporter writes. For the first time in weeks, I hear hope. But others don't trust it. Some think it's a trap. Some want revenge. A man in Gaza says. They always promise peace. But we still suffer. A student in New York posts. This war is not just theirs. It's ours too. In the mind. Because this war is not just missiles and cyber attacks. It's about power. Faith. Fear. And the future. Will we learn? Or repeat the past? That's the question. Not for presidents. Not for generals. But for all of us. Because war is not made by weapons. It is made by choices. And peace starts with the same. If you could choose between power and peace, what would you fight for?